Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with our webinar for today. And first of all, hello to all of you. My name is Monica Hall Porter, and joining me today is Leanna Farnam. Uh,
Hi.
I am the program chair for biology and health science within the School of Health Science at Lasell University, and Leanna is the program chair for forensic science. So today what we're going to do is we're both going to give a brief overview of our programs, and then we are going to open up the floor for questions from you all, and you will be entering your questions into the chat function in our webinar. So since I've introduced myself, I'll let Leanna start off by giving a brief introduction or overview of the forensic science program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Professor Leanna Farnam, and as Dr. Hall said, I am the program director or program chair of our forensic science program. So our forensic science program, it is very science heavy. We follow the curriculum that was suggested by FEPAC, which is the accrediting body for forensic science in the United States. We are in the midst of getting FEPAC accreditation for our program. So like I said, it's very science heavy. You start with your introductory bio and chemistry, and then in your second year, you continue with that. And it's not until your second semester, second year, and into your third and fourth years that you actually get into forensic science, because I think it's really important that you get a strong science and math foundation before you can truly apply those concepts to forensic science and start getting into the forensic science aspect of everything. So that's just in a nutshell what our program is like, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Professor Farnam. Again, I'm Professor Monica Hall Porter, and I'm the chair for the biology program and the health science program. And so in order to talk about the biology and health science programs, I'm going to talk about them separately. I'm going to start with biology. So the biology program provides our students with a firm foundation for any career in the biological sciences. So just as we start with forensic science with a very strong foundation in mathematics, biology, and chemistry, we do the same thing in the biological sciences program. In fact, most of the forensic students and biology students take their first year classes together. And so you'll find that this is a science-heavy curriculum that starts out pretty hard and heavy with the sciences, and then branches out into specialized areas of biology, such as plant biology, genetics, microbiology, and evolutionary biology. And those are just some of the higher level or up level courses that we offer within that discipline. The second program I want to tell you a little bit about is our health science program. And so basically this degree program allows our students to embark upon a pre-professional educational program that really prepares students for careers that focus on the human body from a healthcare perspective. And so basically this is a multidisciplinary approach, and there's significant coursework in mathematics, biology, and chemistry, and then also some work in the humanities disciplines and social sciences as well. Again, the health sciences program is more of a pre-professional healthcare preparation program, and many students who pursue the health science degree go on to careers in nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, physician's assistant studies, and things of that nature. So I guess with that, I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have. We're both happy to entertain questions.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is once we see a question appear in the chat, we will then go ahead and read it out loud so that everybody can hear the questions that's been asked. Okay. So, oh wow, so we have a question here already, and that question is, why is science a good field to pursue right now, and what sets our programs apart from the rest? So Leanna, do you want to speak to that from the forensic science disciplines, and then I'll speak with regard to biology and health sciences?
Yes, so in the science program, it's a great program to apply to or get involved with right now, because there is an overwhelming quantity of forensic jobs now, particularly in forensic DNA analysis. A lot of states have started to pass laws that are requiring crime labs to complete their sexual assault cases in a very timely manner. And the only way that that can be done is if the crime labs have more analysts to analyze those sexual assault collection kits and perform the DNA analysis. So there is a large quantity of forensic science jobs out there for students. And then what sets our program apart from other programs is, like I said, it's really science serious. So not only are you going to be really well prepared for a job in forensic science, if you decide, maybe I don't want to be a forensic scientist, you have a really strong basis in all the science where you could take that degree and go work in any science research labs. And again, I just want to reiterate, we are about to pursue FEPAC accreditation, and that is really big in comparison to other forensic science programs in the country as well.
Okay. So from the biological sciences and health science point of view, the healthcare fields aren't going anywhere. In fact, there's significant job growth predicted in fields that cover both of those disciplines. And so what sets us apart, though, I think, is the small class size that we have and the hands-on approach that you'll get to learning, specifically in our laboratory teaching settings. We strive to equip our labs with the most up-to-date technology so that we can teach our students the techniques that they'd be using in their chosen careers. And so that's really something that sets us apart from everyone else. There's another question in the chat with regard to forensic science. And that question is, does the forensic science program cross over with the psychology program at all? Or would I have to minor in psych if I wanted to become a forensic psychologist?
Okay, so I get this question a lot. Forensic psychology is a really very small job market. So I tend to recommend to students to stay in the forensic science program, take all of the science courses, and then take psychology courses as their electives in the event that there's not a job in that field open for them in forensic psychology. You always have something to fall back on. You do have room in your academic plan where you have electives, and those spaces for electives are whatever class you want it to be. Mm-hmm. If you would like to take more psychology classes, we will certainly help you do that as well. And there is a way you can get a minor in psychology, and your advisor will work with you to make sure you accomplish both your major requirements and your minor requirements.
Okay. So there's a question from another visitor, and basically the question is, what additional classes should I take to become a forensic pathologist? Would I need to go to med school?
So yes, you would need to go to med school to become a forensic pathologist. And again, this is a really big growing field with the recent opioid crisis in our country. So we recently developed an academic plan in forensic science for pre-med students. So what that means is that you have the exact same course requirements as all other forensic science students, with some additional courses that we advise you to take in preparation for the MCATs and for med school applications. Those include psychology, sociology. Those are two big courses that med schools highly recommend that you take prior to applying. And then there's some additional math courses in there, I believe. Yeah. So again, this is one of the big perks of coming to Lasell is that we're a small college. Faculty works very closely with students, and you have a very close relationship with your advisor, who will talk to you about what your career goals are or what your plans are after Lasell, and we will cater your academic plan to make sure that you accomplish those.
And that goes for any of our disciplines. Yes. We have pre-medical advising tracks for biology as well as health science. And basically what we do there is we make sure that students are very well equipped to take the MCAT exam, and then also that they've taken all the prerequisite courses that are recommended by the various medical schools that they may want to apply to. And there's no question that should not be asked. So as you have questions, please feel free to pop them in. Oh, here's a good one. What kinds of internships have bio, health science, and forensic science students completed? So I'll go ahead and answer that question from some of our biology students. So as you all may know, biology, the biological sciences disciplines are broad. And so we have several students who've been interested in varied aspects of biology. Most recently, one of our students who's applying to veterinary medicine, applying for school in veterinary medicine, actually completed her internship at a veterinarian's office near her home. We've also had students to complete internships in biotech. One of our graduating seniors actually completed his internship at an institute or at an organization called Lasell. And what that organization does is they are a biotech incubator. So he basically helped the Lasell team set up and test all of their equipment for molecular biology and various other biological sciences applications. And so the internships are varied in biology and in health science, but rest assured, they cater to student interest. One of the first things I do, and that many of the other professors, all the other professors do, is as soon as we hit the sophomore year, we start talking about what the student's end career goal is so that we can find or help them find an internship site that is directly targeted toward their interest and not just an internship site for the sake of doing an internship. And so, Professor Farnam, can you talk a little bit about the forensic science internships?
Yes, so we have a very exciting continuing relationship with the State Police Crime Lab here in Massachusetts. So we have had students who have interned in the DNA unit at the crime lab, the criminalistics or the serology unit, and then this past semester we had a student who was placed in their quality assurance department for their internship. So that is a great opportunity for our forensic science students. We're starting to build our internships as well. So we have students next semester who are looking to pursue internships in a new cannabis testing lab. This is a great example of forensic chemistry. So there's great internship opportunities there. So we have students that have started to pursue internships and also jobs at those locations as well.
Oh, this is interesting. One student wants to, or potential student wants to know what the Lasell Works program looks like when you major in forensic science.
So for all Lasell Works students, your sophomore year will be completely online so that you have the ability to work during that time. So just like all other Lasell Works students, your classes in the forensic science program will also be online. So what we do is you'll have the exact same requirements as every other forensic student. But we're going to put in your second year, we're going to get you a little bit out of sequence and we're going to put you online in courses that can be taken online easily. So that includes your math classes, some of your elective requirements for graduation that the Lasell University requires, and then you'll rejoin your class your third year when you come back on campus and we'll start up on those science courses again. So it's absolutely a possibility that you can be in the forensic science program and also the Lasell Works program, and we will work with you to make sure that you do that successfully.
So one attendee says, I'm interested in athletic training. So I was wondering what some of the classes would look like, setting myself up for it, or maybe some internships I might have. So for athletic training, the students actually take a series of classes that's designed specifically for them to explore the movement and the functioning of the human body. And so the athletic training students typically start out with anatomy and physiology, which is a 2-semester course sequence, and then other courses that are suited to the clinical applications with regard to caring for athletes. I do know that the athletic training majors do have several years of clinical courses that they must take. And so basically what that means is that their internship years are literally spent working in an athletic training capacity alongside with athletic trainers from various institutions and internship sites that we have here in the area. So Professor Farnam and I, neither of us are directly affiliated with those programs, but we do teach students in those programs. Mm-hmm. In fact, for athletic training, I would encourage you to reach out to the Dean of the School of Health Science with specific questions about that program. And her email address, I'm going to type it in the chat. Her name is Christina Haverty, and her email address is chaverty at lasell.edu. Again, it's chaverty at lasell.edu. And then here's a good question. So why would you recommend Lasell's forensic science program over other universities?
Well, as I said, we are en route to becoming FEPAC accredited, which is a huge indication of the rigor of our curriculum and the standards that were set by the forensic science field. So if you graduate from our program and we achieve that FEPAC accreditation, it's saying I had an extensive quantity of science and math classes to make me well equipped to do any job in this forensic science field, be it crime scene investigation, forensic biology, forensic chemistry. And the other reason why I would recommend our program is why I would recommend any program at Lasell. Like I said, we have small class sizes. We have a lot of student-faculty interaction, even with your introductory classes. In a lot of universities, you don't get that. But our class sizes remain the same from the very first class that you take to the very last class you take at our university, which is capped at typically 24 students.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of one-on-one time with your faculty, and you have a lot of one-on-one time with your advisors. So we can cater to what you want to accomplish both at Lasell and after Lasell. And it's no different in the forensic science program. I will work with you to find out exactly what you want to accomplish after Lasell, and I will help you find the jobs and the internships to accomplish that career goal.
And I'd just like to add a little bit to that. And this extends to all of the courses all of the programs that we're talking about today. So one of the key features of our course sequence is that during the senior year, each student takes a combination of classes called Research Methods and Capstone. And in Research Methods, we actually teach you or fine-tune your skills of doing research in your discipline. And that's big because you learn how to communicate like a professional within your discipline. And then in the second semester of that series, Capstone, each student actually designs their own independent research study and conducts that study and then reports on that study. And so we have a very unique opportunity for students to actually engage in an authentic research process within their discipline. And I think that that is one of the wonderful things about our programs. We really give you a chance to make sure that you're applying your knowledge and not just learning things, but you're actually applying in some sort of culminating event for your degree program.
I just want to add one more thing about a benefit of our forensic science program. So in forensic science, and the reason why FEPAC accreditation was created is because there are a lot of forensic science programs that claim to be a forensic science program and claim to prepare a student for work in the forensic science field, but they actually don't cover any science or any major standards that are required for a job in the field. So again, we have a very science-heavy program that's going to make you successful in any forensic science field or any science field. And also we have all of the course requirements to become a forensic DNA analyst. So if you're interested in becoming a forensic DNA analyst, the FBI requires that you take molecular biology, biochemistry, statistics, and genetics. And we have all of those courses in our academic plan, so you will be well suited to pursue a career in forensic DNA analysis if that is what you would like to choose.
Thank you so much for that, Professor Farnam.
Okay, so I will take this next question, which is why are some postgraduate opportunities for health science, technology, and forensic science students, and what are some alumni doing now? So I'll speak to forensic science students again. So forensic science students, our program well prepares you for graduate school. If you would like to pursue a master's in forensic science, and Boston University has a great master's of forensic science program, and we work very closely with that university. And then if you would prefer to move on for employment, we will set you up. We will work with you to help you with your applications, provide references and recommendations as well. And some of our students, as I said, are working in forensic chemistry. So a couple of our students have obtained jobs in new cannabis testing labs where they're testing cannabis for the cannabis distribution centers, because Massachusetts has very strict standards in regards to what that looks like. And that is an example of forensic chemistry. So students have been placed there. And I believe other students have achieved jobs in government agencies in forensic science as well.
Okay, so we have a number of options represented in biology and health science. We have a few students who are actually right now in physician's assistant programs. We have a couple of recent graduates of physical therapy programs. We also have some students who are who have pursued veterinary science education, as well as students who've pursued nursing. With regard to working to jobs, we have some students who have chosen to work in more public health related organizations. And so we have one particular student who pursued fellowships with the American Heart Association in one of their community health partnership programs, as well as a student who works for a nonprofit organization called Peer Health Exchange, where they actually serve as peer educators for high school students when it comes to teaching them about caring for the health of their reproductive systems. So, Professor Farnam, one thing I want to share is that sometimes there are some questions that we'll get that are common. And so one question that I would like to address is it easy to add a minor? And then what do students in our majors typically minor in?
So for forensic science, students don't typically minor right now, although we would certainly make adjustments if you would like to minor in something. Majority of my students prefer the pre-med track to become a forensic pathologist, and as I mentioned, we have a very specific academic plan for that. If you would like to minor, as a question we received earlier suggests, you could minor in psychology to potentially pursue forensic psychology. You could minor in mathematics so that you increase your mathematics skills. So those are some of the minors that I would suggest for forensic science.
Okay, and then for biology and health science, the minors really depend on what the student interest is, but often I do see students who are in biology minoring in psychology, business, and that's the same holds true for health science as well. But rest assured that during your matriculation process, your advisor will work with you to make sure that you can accommodate your minor, and the minor courses are actually those courses that would be taken as your electives, okay? So another question that came up in the Q&A window is, do we have physical spaces devoted to our majors? And the answer is yes. So we have some very beautiful laboratory teaching spaces that accommodate all of our sciences in our brand new multi-million-dollar Science and Technology Center. And so we are very well equipped to facilitate education in the sciences. And then for forensic science, we also have a mock crime scene lab that we use for instructional purposes as well.
Yes.
So let's see, have alumni moved on to get jobs in the government, like in the FBI?
So our program is still fairly new and small, so we haven't had many graduates. So I don't believe anybody has been placed in the FBI yet. However, I have a student right now, her goal when she started in the program, she said her number one goal is that she wants to work for the FBI when she graduates from Lasell. So she and I, we meet every year. She's in a lot of my classes, and we make sure that we're working towards that goal, and I can't wait. She's a sophomore, so in a couple of years, I can't wait to help her start those FBI applications to help her pursue that goal.
Another question, what field trips / study abroad experiences have health science, biology, and forensic science students done? So for health science and biology, there are students who have studied abroad, but again, you have to make sure that you coordinate your study abroad experience with your advisor. And I do believe that the student that studied abroad was in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, that's something that you coordinate under the direction or under the advisement of your academic advisor to make sure that while you are away, you're taking courses that actually continue you on to degree completion. But one thing I'll just say is that, when you think about some of the questions that you may have about internships or study abroad experiences, et cetera, we can only give you examples of what others have done. But with a good amount of planning and a good amount of thought put into your progression, we can partner together to make a lot of different things happen that are based on your interests. And so keep that in mind. It's all about making sure that you maintain communication with your academic advisor so they know exactly what types of experiences you're interested in. And so as things come up or as options present themselves, we can make sure that you're well suited to take advantage of those things.
And I would just like to add to that, if you feel like a whole semester abroad won't really fit into your academic plan, Lasell also offers short shoulder-to-shoulder programs,
Mm-hmm.
typically more of a service learning or charitable type trip where you travel for a couple weeks to do a very specific project, and you do receive credit for that as well. So that's a great option as well. It's something
Mm-hmm.
typically occurs in the summer or like May, June at that time, and it would not affect your academic plan at all.
Thank you for adding that. Our shoulder-to-shoulder programs do provide rich experiences, and in the past, we've had shoulder-to-shoulder experiences in Mexico, Anguilla, Tanzania, and then we also have some domestic shoulder-to-shoulder programs. There are students who have done shoulder-to-shoulder or learning trips in New Orleans, Louisiana, as well as Houston, Texas. What advice would you give an incoming freshman?
So for incoming freshmen, my first piece of advice is to remember that college is not high school. It's a little bit more difficult. You have much more expectations of you. You are expected to be much more independent. So keep that in mind in order to be successful. But with that being said, we at Lasell University understand that that transition from high school to college can be difficult. And again, can't reiterate it enough, that is the benefit of coming to Lasell, where you have those small class sizes and that one-on-one time with faculty. I found that that really helps students quite a bit to be successful in their first year.
Right. The only thing I would add to that is that your expectation of your first year is that you will be challenged. And not to get discouraged when you are challenged, because you're supposed to be challenged in college. And we make sure, though, that even in challenging you, we provide support to walk you through the transition between learning environments that you experienced in college and then in high school, and then what you'll be experiencing in college.
Yes, and again, we don't have TAs. So if you have an issue in a class, you're going to directly, and we will always address those issues. We do not want our students to fail, so we will to try to make it as successful of a semester as we can for you. So there's one more question that's been added. The question is, how early can you enter an internship or travel abroad program? So you need to be at least a junior standing to pursue an internship. And then for travel abroad, Dr. Hall Porter, can you actually help me answer that one? I don't.
Yeah. So for study abroad, I've seen most students do it early in their academic career. So the sophomore year typically, because what happens is once you finish that sophomore year, you really start to get into your upper division science courses, and the study abroad programs are generally more broad and not necessarily specific to disciplines. And so you want to make sure that you can take classwork that propels you toward degree completion. And then let me just give you a little bit of reason why you have to be a junior for an internship. We want to make sure we're sending students who have had significant experiences, especially in the labs and actually completing lab tasks. And so it's not until you have or have completed your junior year or junior status where you've seen enough and done enough in the labs for us to be confident in your lab skills to send you out to another organization to complete an internship. So the goal of the internship is to make sure that you can get a job with that organization after your internship. And so we want to make sure that you're as competent as possible. And the junior year is a really good point for sending students out.
I will say, however, that most students typically do it in their senior year.
Mm-hmm.
If the internship is successful, we've seen happen a lot where the internship just slides right into a full-time job, which is
right.
like as well. So that's why a lot of students pursue it in their senior year.
So would it be possible to participate in Lasell Works program as well as travel abroad during your academic career, or is that unlikely to happen? So I think that in the sciences, that would be quite unlikely to happen. So you would have to choose. So think about what Lasell Works is for. Lasell Works is a cost savings measure so that you can work during the time of your matriculation. And that's during the sophomore year when your classes are online. So if you do travel abroad, then that adds significant expense back to your collegiate experience. And so we would really have to take a hard look to do both of those things, but I have not seen it done yet. I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to say that it would be difficult.
I would suggest for that to do the Lasell Works program and then pursue another travel opportunity that's not like we talked about, like shoulder to shoulder, or maybe another short-term credit that's offered, and that way you could get both experiences of studying abroad, even though it's a much shorter time frame, as well as Lasell Works. That would be, to me, a great kind of compromise there.
Yes, and that's actually a better combination than trying to spend a semester abroad. Yeah. Oh, here's another question. Do professors make relationships with their students? Absolutely. So I maintain professional relationships with many of my students, even through and after graduation. And so I encourage students to always stop by my office to say hi. They don't have to have any particular need, but come in. Let me know how things are going. And so absolutely. In fact, every professor has what are called office hours. And that's a time not for the professor to work alone in their office, but a time for a professor to actually be open to greeting students and talking to students about various issues that they may be having. And so absolutely, we maintain professional relationships with our students, and we pride ourselves on our ability to make space and time for that to happen.
I agree with that. We're there for you every step of the way, and we have a really strong relationship with our students.
Are there any other questions? Oh, there's actually one thing that I would like to cover. And then that question is about our co-curricular experiences. So Professor Farnam, can you talk about how students in forensic science might get involved in the sciences outside the classroom at Lasell?
Yes. So in addition to internships, which we do to make sure that you can apply everything that you've learned, I'm just drawing a blank right now.
The clubs, the forensic science clubs.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes.
And the honor societies.
Yes, of course. So in forensic science, we have the Forensic Science Student Association. It's led by 4 really incredible students, and they have multiple events throughout the semester to not only promote the major, but to just promote forensic science fields in general. So last semester, we did bloodstain pattern tie-dyeing t-shirts. And then this semester, they did a strawberry DNA extraction so that students, even outside of the forensic science program, could learn how to extract DNA. And unfortunately it was canceled, but we also had an event on the books for a murder mystery dinner for the semester. So hopefully we'll get the opportunity to do that next semester as well. And then I'll let you talk about the honors program.
So we have a health science club, and then we also have new chapters of honor societies for our disciplines that have not been announced yet, but we do honor our student achievement, but then also provide opportunities for co-curricular enrichment. Our health sciences club is a general student interest club for the School of Health Sciences, and they do things like host professional development opportunities and professional panels for students to facilitate career interest, and that includes students who are interested in just going straight out to work, or panelists who can speak to what pursuing education beyond the undergraduate degree might be like. And one of the things I think is really neat about those student clubs is that they do provide an opportunity for students to pursue leadership within their discipline. And so when you're thinking about what happens after Lasell, the ability to display leadership in your discipline is really huge. And that's either for a job or embarking upon a career, or even for pursuing graduate or professional education after your undergraduate years. Okay. Are there any other questions? Well, seeing none, I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, I see one. Another one just popped up. Oh, okay. It says that that this person is saying that they don't think we have any other questions. So thank you so much for joining us today and participating. We look forward to seeing you at Lasell University in the fall.
Yes, very much.
Alrighty. So again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our admissions office. They will be able to appoint you in our direction should you have questions that come up after this webinar. Again, stay safe, be well, and we appreciate your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.